I don't think he was aware of how big an impact he had done to a lot of people.
We had the whole let's go on a date together, and he would give the flowers.
It was just a virtual kiss, but boy, I could almost feel it.
I mean, it's obvious seeing the movie why the story resonates with so many people, but what was it about it that initially, spoke to you and made you see it as filmic?
For me, first, the story of sorrow was the first that caught my attention, and that Mats' parents, they had to reevaluate his whole life. And the film works also with a structure where it's told many times, almost like a circular structure. And that's also the way, for me, sorrow works. It comes in waves, and you are revisiting the person you have lost many times. And then I had the idea of recreating an actual lived Avatar life with the aesthetics from that game. And what I saw early on when I read through thousands of pages of role-play dialogue was that it was a coming-of-age story there. And I could recognize a lot of the things Mats had experienced, like meeting friends, experiencing love, then losing friends, getting them back again. The difference was that he had experienced that inside of a game.
Yeah.
The framework of the film is the family, it's about sorrow, and the story, or the film within the film, is a coming-of-age story.
And did you always know you were going to, sort of cut between the animated world? I don't want to say, the fake world and the real world, because that world is very real in so many ways. But
Very true.
Did you always sort of have that structure in mind?
Yes, that was the whole idea. And I think that was also the reason why Mats' parents said yes to be part of this film, because they wanted to understand their son better. Also because Mats, before he passed away, he had a wish to be remembered. He really wanted to be remembered. So in a way, we're honoring that with this film as well. And now Mats' parents, they've seen the film over 150 times.
Wow.
So they're used to film as part of their healing process.
Yeah.
And it has also taught them totally new things about their son.
I mean, in a way, it's so beautiful, but it's also sort of sad that they didn't know. They thought he had this isolated life. And, it must be so wonderful to learn that that was not the truth, but also, they didn't get to share that with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what they say now is that, when Mats was gaming, they looked at the screen for 5 minutes and condemned it. And then they went to watch the real screen, which is television. That is what Robert says. And of course, they could have kind of gotten to know him better. And that's a huge regret they have. But again, they thought their son lived a very isolated and lonely life without friends or experiencing love. And then the shock of learning that, people came from all over Europe to his funeral. They received around 50 messages from around Europe, telling story not only about a friend, but how Mats had helped them fundamentally. He had changed lives, as you see in the film. And for a long time, Mats' friends did not know that he was sick.
That's right.
They had never seen him.
Yeah.
And Mats communicated through text, and he could, towards the end of his life, only move his fingers, which is an extraordinary story, that he could help so many people around Europe from his home, from his computer.
And you just showed me there was a gathering in World of Warcraft yesterday, was it? Where his friends all gathered?
I was very emotional yesterday. It was the premiere of the film. I cried the whole day because right after the film was released on Netflix, people began gathering inside of World of Warcraft in front of his grave, lighting candles there. And there were so many people.
Yeah.
And they're still going there. So as we speak now, people are going to his gravestone, lighting a candle inside that game.
Did you have any familiarity with World of Warcraft or this style of gaming at all when you took this on?
Never.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of the same games as Mats growing up, but I became very interested in film when I was 11. And then I watched one film every day. And I stopped playing video games. I had seen my friends playing World of Warcraft, and I felt it was very excluding. I kind of watched over the shoulder, and I saw many strangely looking avatars.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of text and symbols. I didn't understand anything. So the whole idea with this film and the goal was to invite everyone in. And also so that my grandmother, and she's 94, would feel included. And she's actually been part of the test screenings for these films. I really wanted her to feel included into this world. At the same time, I wanted the gamers who have invested like 20,000 hours into this world feel that the representation of the game is authentic. And I hope I have achieved that.
For good reason. The internet sometimes gets a bad reputation, and it can be a scary place. But bringing shedding a positive light on things, did it also sort of the way that your thinking kind of changed about World of Warcraft? Did it sort of change about all this technology?
I come also from a journalistic background, and I read a lot of news. So in Norway, I will say 98% of the media coverage around gaming and online culture, that's negative.
Really?
So in a way, you can say that this tells another story. And to my knowledge, also, this is the first time an actual lived avatar life is recreated in retrospective, based upon the huge archive of roleplay dialogue. Those kind of stories are also important to tell because we are living more and more digital lives. Many of us go many hours every day in a virtual world. And we need to tell those stories also through cinema. And that's what we're trying to explore here and trying to do.
In addition to, these thousands of pages of conversations, how did you acquire so much video? Is that just the family had been recording it for years?
Mats' father had been filming a lot. He's also a stamp collector, and he also collects a lot of videos. We had a lot of videos. Also, Mats was a part of an informational documentary before he passed away about specialized equipment. He wanted to promote what had helped him being able to communicate and game. So we were very fortunate.
How many hours of footage do you think you had to comb through?
Oh, it's an enormous amount.
Yeah.
And it took over 4 years working on it. And we used 2 years in the editing room. After 1 year of editing this film, the film still didn't work. It actually didn't work at all. We were using the IP of a huge gaming company, and we made the film without asking them for permission.
I was going to ask, is this Activision?
Yeah, Blizzard, yeah.
Blizzard
Activision Blizzard, yeah.
Okay. So you didn't even reach out to them when you started making it?
The thing is that we wanted this film to be an independent production. And the only way we could do that was to just make the film. So we actually just took out models from the internet. We hired YouTubers to help out with the animation. And then we made the film without asking for permission, and we had no plan B. I'm a very neurotic person, so I have to confess that I had some sleepless nights because of that. So when we had a version of the film after working on it for 3 years, we contacted them and wrote them an email, and we said we made this film, we used your world, can we use your world for free without any involvement from you? And then they asked us to come to their offices in California, in Irvine. And we went there. I was extremely nervous.
Sure.
I had to take some extra doses of asthma medicine in order to breathe. My hands were shaking. Actually, during that screening, I didn't dare to look at the screen. I just watched the ground. And my producer, Ingvild, she's very relaxed, always positive. And after the screening, the boss of that company turned around and said, and he was crying, he said, "This film is fantastic, you will get the rights."
Wow. What would you have done if they'd said no?
I don't know if this film would have been made, actually.
Would you have been able to show it anywhere?
What we said was we can anonymize the game, but we did not know how to do it. And I think also Ibelin needs to look like Ibelin.
Yeah.
All dialogue needs to be what they wrote to each other. The places is where it happened. And that's why, the whole idea of the film is that we are recreating an actual lived avatar life in retrospective.
There's so much to take away from this movie about, the way that his family learned about Mats' relationships. But I think we can all learn things about relationships and connection, even if it doesn't look quote unquote normal to most people. I have to imagine working on this movie was a really emotional experience.
A very emotional experience. I would cry and be moved almost every day at work. And I think something I learned from Mats making this film is that he always asked his friends, "How are you doing?" And there's many ways of asking that. He truly meant it. He also prioritized to listen. And in the beginning, I thought Mats had time for his friends because he didn't work. It was a prejudice on my end. If there were one person that did not have much energy, it was Mats.
Yeah.
He had so much pains. He needed a breathing machine. He had a tube down his throat every 15 minutes. And still, he prioritized the little energy he had for his friends, asking that question. But you can also see in the film that, I hope we are doing also a complex study of him, because he was intelligent, charming, smart, funny, but he would also lash out, he would lie, he would get in trouble, he would lose contact with 2 of his best friends. And I know also that he, according to his family and friends, he never would have wanted a portray of him as a saint.
Yeah, sure.
That was very important to him. So we're trying to also honor that with hopefully making a complex and nuanced portrait of him.
Has this movie, started any conversations about, making the gaming world more accessible to ably different players?
Yes, it has.
Really?
So Blizzard, they have actually reached out to the people from Norway who made that specialized equipment for Mats.
Oh, that's so cool.
And with this film also, we used a casting agency in London called Visible. So all the voices from the characters, from the animated parts, they have a disability. And that was also a choice we took because we thought, what would Mats have wanted?
Yeah.
So all of those voices are by actors with disabilities. When we had the first screening of the film, all of Mats' friends you see in the film had seen the film many, many times.
Okay.
But the rest of the guild community, Mats' friends, had not seen it at all. So I was very nervous about that screening. After that screening, Mats' friends came up to me and they said, "This is exactly how we remembered Ibelin."
Wow.
Which is a great compliment. But then they said, "You did one big mistake, Benjamin." And I said, "Oh no. One big mistake can mean like 1 extra year of working." And then they said like, "Ibelin liked women with more leathered clothes." And then I said, "What do you mean?" And they showed me, "Oh, that woman there, and this is the kind of clothes she used to wear," and then we put that on. And then we locked the edit afterwards.
That's amazing. It's such a beautiful movie. It is a love story. It's a coming-of-age story. It's so many things at once. I want to remind everyone, luckily this movie is on Netflix, so you can watch it again and again. Please spread the word. It's so special. Thank you so much for being here, and again, congratulations.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks.